When we look back on the calendar year for WWE in 2018, we're going to look back at what was probably quality-wise, show-wise, pay-per-view-wise. We're going to look back and think this was one of the worst years for WWE as far as all of those things are concerned. Tonight was no different with TLC. I'm just glad that tonight marked the end of the pay-per-view calendar for WWE, and we can head into this supposed shakeup on Monday Night Raw with some sense of hope. You might think that something new is coming or something fresh is coming. You may want to be hopeful. I am not. Nor will I. 2018 has come to a close, officially, for WWE pay-per-views. The one thing that I think is going to be a consistent opinion around the wrestling community is, especially the last few months, especially when it comes to Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte Flair. I think the one thing that a lot of people are going to have a very similar opinion on is that the women are completely outshining. Now, not all of the women, because WWE is now really focused on what's going on with what we've seen in the main event tonight. A few particular women on this roster, which, if you want to pinpoint those, you know who they are, but it equals to an entire women's evolution finally becoming a reality. It's finally starting to feel like an evolution. You could take those three women, and you can honestly say that they're outclassing and outmatching the men in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. The women are the MVPs of WWE right now. Now, it might be a stretch to say this because the ratings are in the tank anyway. I'm no dummy. Becky Lynch is not a ratings grab. Charlotte Flair is not a ratings grab. Fuck, even Ronda Rousey is not a ratings grab. If she was, Monday Night Raw wouldn't be suffering from the lowest ratings of all time. But without the women right now, we, collectively, as a community, watching WWE have absolutely nothing of interest. And we can hang our hat on what they did tonight to carry us through, finally, an exciting WrestleMania season. I thought the end of this show was great. Now, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to get into it here, but all I will say is this, and I will again reiterate this when I talk about the main event. Whoever said that Becky Lynch is dying off, or she's not over, or she's losing her luster, she's losing her appeal, whoever told me that triple threat match, A, doesn't belong in the main event, B, certainly doesn't even deserve to be in the main event, I want to hear from none of you ever again. Because they shut you up. I've been shutting you up for the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to hear from stupid people anymore. Blocked, benched, whatever you want to call it. Gone. Don't look in my direction. They shut you up pretty fucking quick tonight. Now, before we even get into the review, before we even get into the TLC review, I know a lot of people are going to be watching me, a lot of people that might have been in the arena. A lot of these same people will probably go to Monday Night Raw on Monday. I mentioned it in the beginning with the shakeup, and I have not talked about this because I did not upload an off the script on Sunday. I didn't want to because I didn't want to interfere with the pay-per-view. Okay, I did a live stream for WWE 2K19. I want to talk about this shakeup, first and foremost, because I don't think I'm going to record anything else in concerns to this before Monday Night Raw. I am urging. I didn't listen to anybody else. I didn't listen to any other podcast that I usually listen to. I was just in my own bubble today. I was very tired. I was very exhausted. I had a long weekend with House of Glory. I didn't get a chance to listen to anybody else. I was barely on YouTube or Twitter all weekend. Okay? So if I'm saying anything here and you're hearing something similar somewhere else, this is a community-wide feeling, I am sure, no question. I am urging every single one of you that go to Monday Night Raw, if you're even going. I don't know why you would subject yourself to this fucking dumpster fire of a show. The worst program when it comes to professional wrestling that I think I've ever seen. If you are attempting to just treat yourself with the most disrespect anybody can treat themselves with, if you are going to punish yourself for whatever reason, if you are going to torture yourself, if you like that type of thing, I urge you, if you're going to be there, Mr. McMahon is going to be coming out. He's going to address the WWE Universe. I'm sure he's going to fire Baron Corbin. And he's going to elect another GM, as if we need another fucking GM on this show. Mr. McMahon's going to come out, and he's going to shake things up. Now, I remember watching WWE throughout the years when we see someone who is of legendary status. They're in the crowd, they're bowing down, and they're giving them a resounding ovation. You know, you deserve it, and all this other positivity and all these other positive chants, right? Cheering along, happy to see them. Mr. McMahon is there, and I hope to God, I want you all to pray that this happens tomorrow night on Raw. If Mr. McMahon comes out and we start seeing people cheer this man, if we see Mr. McMahon come out on Monday Night Raw and people are positive or throwing positives and thank yous to Mr. McMahon, please don't do that. I swear to God, one of the greatest moments I've ever seen on Monday Night Raw in its history was with Roman Reigns when he defeated The Undertaker in Orlando at WrestleMania. The night after, on Monday Night Raw, the reaction that Roman Reigns got, where he didn't utter a fucking word for 9 minutes while fans were chanting the most disrespectful, derogatory statements, words, phrases that one could conjure up in that moment on Monday Night Raw. Mr. McMahon on Raw needs to have a moment like that to open the show that is far worse than what Roman Reigns got thrown at him. If you do not do this, I have absolutely no faith in any wrestling fan anywhere across the globe. And if you're listening to me and you don't do this, and you go and cheer this man for whatever reason, I don't know why you would cheer him. You are a fucking Class A hypocrite. You don't deserve to be watching the fucking show. You could sing along to the man's theme song for all I give a shit. I don't care. Sing till your fucking heart pops out of its chest. If you are not booing the shit out of this man and throwing derogatory statements at him, you are a fucking hypocrite. Done. You want to voice your fucking opinion? The man doesn't show up on television ever. Do you know how desperate this is of a move by WWE that Mr. McMahon is showing up on television? And I'm sure I'll talk about this again on tomorrow's review. Do you know how desperate this is when Monday Night Raw is failing and they gotta go to Vince McMahon like the fucking Ghostbusters? Oh, the ratings are falling. Look, we're being haunted by falling ratings. Oh my goodness. And then here comes Egon and fucking all the rest of the Ghostbusters, and they got their fucking photon beams out, and they're fucking trying to blast ratings back up, you know? They're fucking wrangling ghosts, and they throw the fucking trap. Mr. McMahon is the head wrangler over at Ghostbusters, Inc. It's ridiculous. It's the sheer fucking desperation of this company that makes me sick. And the fact that people don't see that is more sickening. We don't need to call Vince McMahon to get the ratings correct on this show. Now, if Vince McMahon comes in and really shakes things up, you're going to have the people out there, oh, look, JD was wrong. He shook things up. We got a good Monday Night Raw. Oh, but alas, my fair idiot. One good show does not mean an upward trend for WWE. One good show means that they put on one good show. I hope you realize that they have to repeat that thing the next week. If they don't, what the fuck good was it? It's not the fact that Mr. McMahon's going to shake things up. Yeah, you could shake things up on Raw. You can bring up some NXT talent. You could fast track a Lars Sullivan, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to shake things up? We already got a Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler match planned for Monday Night Raw. To me, that hardly says shake up. We're going to fire Baron Corbin from a GM position that nobody wanted him in to begin with? That doesn't resemble a shake up. Mr. McMahon coming on Raw tomorrow night to open the show is not going to make it must-see, because we're going to revert back to the same shit that we've always reverted back to. He's going to be the one in charge. He's going to be the one with the magic pen. There are 30 fucking writers on this show, and none of them write anything that gets passed. It's always, nope, 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 maybe, but no. I like this, but no. Mr. McMahon wields the magic pen. He's like fucking Link in The Lost Woods. Mr. McMahon's wielding the Master Sword, bro. He's the one who's gonna be the end-all, be-all to save Hyrule. But in this story, Ganon has far destroyed Hyrule beyond repair. Fuck out of here, man. Mr. McMahon is not going to save anything. And all the people that want to bash me and bitch at me and moan at me, oh, JD's negative, he doesn't like anything, does anything make you happy? What happened? What happened with Seth Rollins, man? What happened with Seth Rollins cutting that fantastic promo, according to you fucking clowns, on Monday Night Raw last week? What happened? Right? We were told about the problems that we already knew of on Monday Night Raw. Baron Corbin acted like Vince McMahon. Seth Rollins was given that script word for word. There was no freedom in that speech. He didn't go outside the creative bubble to speak his true mind. He was given a script to say. Where did they get that script? From anybody's social media timeline. So what change is really being made when the promo that they had Rollins go out there and say was written in the most laziest fucking way? And what does Rollins do? He makes everything that he stated in that promo, whether it's a work shoot or not, he made everything seem irrelevant. Because he was on Twitter just a few days after that, conversing with Jimmy Jacobs. You know, the Jimmy Jacobs that was fired by WWE for taking a picture with Matt and Nick Jackson and the rest of the elite guys? Yeah, that Jimmy Jacobs. He mentioned to Jimmy Jacobs, I wish the fans knew how difficult it was that 5 hours of television occur every single week. Boo-hoo! Cry me a fucking river. It's not my fucking problem. None of the fans asked for an extra hour of fucking television on Monday night. Maybe if you realize that's what's killing the fucking show, maybe you'd actually save Monday Night Raw from the fucking miserable state that it's in right now. Yeah, we got all these issues on Monday Night Raw, but then Rollins wants to go on social media and say, well, I wish the fans would understand how difficult it is. Fuck me. We're wrong. We're the idiots. We have no right to complain. We're the entitled infants, correct? Fuck out of here, man. So, Mr. McMahon showing up on Monday Night Raw will do nothing. If it does, I'll mention to you if I like it or if I don't. But do you think change is going to occur on tomorrow's show? If it does, who gives a shit? It's the process of continuing. It's the process of consistency that I'm looking for. You know, you fucking idiots out there, the ones who fucking want to say I bitch and moan and complain, you're okay with getting by. It's like going to work and making $6 an hour. You're okay with only making $6 an hour. You don't want to advance. You're complacent in what you do. WWE's complacent with the fucking garbage that they're putting on Monday night. You're complacent by being the way you are, with the attitude you are towards this show. So WWE is complacent. They attract complacent people. You see me, I'm a hard worker, man. I'm a hard worker. I never stop. I never stop dreaming. I never stop working hard. I always want to achieve the next level in what I do. And if I have to fucking do this for years, I don't give a shit. I'm going to get to where I think I know I should be. But you people, WWE's complacent, and they attract complacency. Those are the people that are okay with Monday Night Raw. Those are the people that'll be okay with a good Raw tomorrow, and then hope for a good Monday Night Raw the next week. Meanwhile, we already got this fucking same formula, rinse and repeat, as I mentioned several times already. If you go back and watch the 2016 version of the draft, that first Monday Night Raw where Balor beat Reigns in the main event, that was a great fucking Raw. Probably one of the best Raws of that year. Probably the best Raw of that year. What happened after that? Oh, wow, this is a winning streak for WWE and Raw. Really now? Come off your fucking high horse, man. They got other shows to produce the next week and the week after that and the week after that. And what happened? They went right back to being the same garbage that they were all along. One good show, yeah, but then they consistently gave you garbage shows. Mr. McMahon's going to shake things up? We'll see. But it's a desperation move because they know that the ratings are fucking the worst ever. And I love the fucking people who worked for the company like Jimmy Jacobs, and I love the people who used to be creative writers for the company defending this fucking show as if it's good. Like, who the fuck are you? You're either a fucking idiot or you're trying to get back into good graces and get rehired by WWE, because nobody with a right brain knows that this fucking show is anything but garbage. Ratings don't matter, right? Fox is gonna take this line down? Nonchalantly? Are they gonna be complacent with the ratings? Fuck no. Fuck no. And if WWE didn't give a shit about the ratings, then why bring back Vince McMahon? You're pretty much telling me that you are worried because you have to bring back Vince McMahon because he's the boss. He's gonna shake things up. If ratings didn't matter, then the desperation move of Vince McMahon being on Raw wouldn't be a thing. So yeah, y'all worried about ratings. But this is nothing but a fucking Band-Aid over a fucking shotgun blast. TLC. TLC. From the SAP Center in San Jose, California. You guys were absolutely horrendous as a crowd. Not the entire night, but man, did you put me to sleep. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, and listen, I'm not even blaming you completely. Monday Night Raw side of this show was garbage. Complete garbage. I don't blame you whatsoever. But the fact that you knew this going into this show, and you willingly sit there knowing that the product has been fucking terrible for the last, it's been terrible all year, but for the last 3 months especially, fucking terrible, that you willingly sit there and you are quiet as fucking church virgins on Sunday morning. I don't get it. People don't understand how the crowd can make or break a show. They were great during some points of this show, and they were miserable during most points of this show. Especially the Ambrose Rollins match, which I'll get to when I get to it. But man, was San Jose fucking terrible. And I have no hope in Sacramento doing the right thing for Vince McMahon on Monday Night Raw. Pre-show kicked off. Cruiserweight Championship match. Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy. Cruiserweight title. Man, with the company, with the Cruiserweights, they take one huge step forward, and then they take 3 giant steps back. Cruiserweights were on Survivor Series on the main card. They tore the house down. They were on the main card of the Australian show, right? I guess that kind of is going hand in hand with Buddy Murphy being Australian and him winning the title in Australia. So I guess they had to do that for the feel-good moment. But, you know, they were on the Survivor Series card, and they tore the house down. But here we are in December during TLC. And the first thing that we see on this show is Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. Now, you might not be familiar with Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy, but I certainly am familiar with both men. And then you realize what else is on this show. Bobby Lashley and Elias, right? That was also on the pre-show. Good. Then you got the Mixed Match Challenge, which I don't understand why the Mixed Match Challenge wasn't on the pre-show. You got Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox going 2-on-2 against Carmella and R-Truth to open the show. Well, JD, they wanted to start off with a fun, feel-good moment. Bullshit. We're going into 2019. The world of professional wrestling is going in a more serious direction. The Mixed Match Challenge has been a complete and utter fucking disaster. I don't know one single person, personally, or in my comment section, that gives a shit about the Mixed Match Challenge. Why that opened the show and you didn't start the show off with Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy after they tore the house down, the Cruiserweights did, tore the house down on the last 2 fucking pay-per-view main shows that they were on, and now here they are on TLC, which has been terribly fucking produced and built during the entire month of December and November following the Survivor Series, and they're on the pre-show. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And then the cherry on top of the cake on this shit Sunday is the fact that Mustafa Ali was on Smackdown Live. He was in a high-profile match against Daniel Bryan. Now, I wanted that to be a step in the right direction for guys like Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali and Buddy Murphy to maybe do what they got to do on 205 Live, and when the time is right, get promoted where they could be on Raw and SmackDown, fighting guys like Bryan and Rollins and Joe and Balor, McIntyre, etc., etc. This is not any faith in the matter. This is WWE telling me, yeah, these guys are still indie midgets, and these guys still can't pop a crowd. We don't give a shit. The Mixed Match Challenge is more important than the Cruiserweight Championship. In 2019, one of my wishes for WWE is the fact that the Cruiserweights start to be treated a little bit more seriously. These guys should legitimately be the ones to open Monday Night Raw every single week. Every single week. Or if not, they should be one of the first things you see on the show, wrestling-wise, to get the crowd going. And you give them time to work, because that's what they're supposed to do. On the pre-show, in front of a half-empty arena, Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander don't deserve that. As far as the match goes, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I love both guys. I think they're extremely fucking talented. I think the world of Buddy Murphy in this new resurgence of his career. I think he's absolutely fucking fantastic. Got a great look. I love his attitude. His moveset is great. But if you've seen a match with these two guys already, which we've seen twice before, this was the third, I believe, of the series of matches that these guys have been in. You've seen it already. There was nothing new here. They gave them 9 minutes to go out there and do your thing with the Cruiserweights, and that was it. That was it. This was a 4-hour pay-per-view. You couldn't give these guys a spot on the main show and 15 minutes to try and get that dead crowd alive? I don't like it, man. This really didn't do anything for me. It was good, but it was legitimately the same shit. Either Cedric needs to move away from the Cruiserweight Championship for now, or WWE needs to incorporate those Cruiserweight Tag Team titles, or what I want them to do, maybe do a Trios title. We have tag team titles coming with the women's division. We don't need tag team titles in the Cruiserweight division. Give us something different that makes the show stand out. Maybe a Trios title like Lucha Underground does. But Cedric Alexander needs to move away from the Cruiserweight Championship, and we need to start seeing a new face try and take the title away from Buddy Murphy. That's my honest opinion. But this was a good match. It was just the same shit. And I really wasn't surprised by the ending here. Buddy Murphy retains the Cruiserweight Championship on the pre-show. Cedric dropped Murphy with a big right hand in the middle of the ring. Referee checks on Murphy. He was dazed. He was completely out of it. Murphy looks like he's making a comeback. Cedric drops him again. Cedric goes for the second rope. Murphy cuts him off. Murphy hits a beautiful sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. Murphy kicks Cedric to the apron. Murphy wastes time, and Cedric jumps up, slamming Murphy on the apron. Murphy brings it back into the ring. Cedric immediately grabs him, delivers the lumbar check, goes for the cover. But I love the story. And to those people who think Vic Joseph is awful, man, you need to fucking have your ears checked, man. I think you have major wax buildup. Vic Joseph is fucking great at what he does, man. I would love to be in his position on 205 Live calling these types of matches, man. He made mention that, or I think it was Nigel McGuinness, but the commentary team is great on 205 Live, regardless. The lumbar check was hit, and Cedric Alexander, he hooked the leg, but he hooked the wrong leg. He hooked the inside leg instead of the outside leg, and the outside leg is the one that Buddy Murphy got on the bottom rope, and that broke up the pinfall, and Cedric Alexander hitting a lumbar check was a no-go for the title. I love that, man. That was a really, really good spot, and very nice call there by the commentary team. Cedric can't believe it. He's got one of those faces where he can't believe it. What do I got to do to beat this guy? Cedric follows Murphy to the floor, brings it back into the ring. Cedric approaches, but Murphy pulls him face first into the turnbuckles and then hits a running knee, followed by Murphy's Law. Over. 1, 2, 3. Buddy Murphy retains the Cruiserweight Championship, man. Again, 2019, we need to start highlighting the Cruiserweights a little bit more. And if you really want to shake up on Monday Night Raw, these types of guys, or the division as a whole in general, needs to be featured on Monday Night Raw. That's what I would like to see. Elias versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby Trashley. You know, I got a comment in one of my videos this past weekend. Oh, you're an immature faggot, he says. Well, this guy was benched immediately. You're an immature faggot. You know, it's a little too much by calling him Trashley. It's not his fault. Excuse me, troll, that is no longer allowed in my comment section. Trashley is god-awful. He has no charisma. He can't fucking cut a promo to save his life. And he can't fucking wrestle. The guy is generic. He's a generic black guy with big muscles. I want to see more out of my professional wrestler. Excuse me. Fuck out of here, man. Apollo Crews blows this guy out of the water, and he has zero charisma as well. Anyway, this was a ladder match for whatever reason, I don't know. But there was no contract. There was no title. I mean, for fuck's sake, you could have hung Leo Rush from the fucking from the roof. But there was nothing on the line here. WWE proceeded to book this match as a guitar hanging above the ring in a ladder match. So it was a ladder match with one of his Fender guitars hanging above the ring. Now, before the ruling of this match, and when I recorded the preview and predictions for this very show on Off the Script on Saturday, you guys could go back and watch it, because I had a nice little rant on this type of match here that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. What is the point of having a guitar hanging above the ring in a ladder match, and the participants trying to desperately set this ladder up to retrieve the ladder and use the ladder as a weapon, but the match ends in a pinfall or submission? What is the point of having this ladder match to go retrieve the guitar when the object that you are climbing is far more devastating and brutal than the object you are going to grab that is hanging above the ring? It made no sense whatsoever. So when Elias won this match, I was actually pretty shocked that WWE, and not surprised at all, because I guess they realized that they had fucked up and this made no sense, that they changed the rules of this match for the winner to climb the ladder, and then whoever grabs the guitar is the winner of the match. As if it means anything, this will be forgotten by the water cooler, guaranteed at 11 a.m. in your office, if you're a wrestling fan. Guaranteed. Nobody will remember this match whatsoever. This was boring. It made no sense. The feud for these guys was completely garbage to begin with. This match wasn't even needed. These guys got a ladder match, but yet Rollins and Ambrose did not get a ladder match, and the crowd was chanting this was boring for those guys. Now, they wouldn't have been chanting this is boring if it was a ladder match, but I guess I'm nothing but an internet fucking idiot who sits in his quote-unquote mom's basement who doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, if WWE made the match about the fucking title, maybe it wouldn't have been boring. This was fucking garbage. Elias wins. I don't know what they're doing with Elias. He seems to be on the receiving end of losses and embarrassment every time. Yeah, he's got a cool shtick. Yeah, he's a talented guy. Yeah, he's over with the crowd. But what are they doing? Every time he's out there, he takes a loss. So why am I going to invest my time in Elias and whomever he is going up against, or whatever feud he's in, if it's only going to result in him getting a loss? Can we get him some wins? There's no reason why this guy should not be at least an Intercontinental Champion. That's just me. Elias wins. We had Lashley countering Elias, launches Elias over his head into the ladder that was hanging in the corner or leaning in the corner. So Lashley beats on Elias while he's down in the corner, places the ladder on his face, driving it into his jaw. Lashley stands another ladder up, looks to climb for the guitar. Elias ends up coming back in, powerbombing Lashley into a ladder. Elias climbs up, but Leo Rush climbs up there to meet him at the top. Elias knocks Rush to the mat. Elias then hooked the guitar and wins the match. Wow. Man, such a climactic ending, man. I couldn't fucking wait to see this one by the end of the night. Said no one ever. Elias wins. Moving on to the main show now. We get no better. We move on from one garbage match to something that's completely fucking dreadful in every sense of the word. Mixed Match Challenge, Season 2 Finals. If there's a Season 3, man, if there's a Season 3. I'm going to do like I did in Season 2. Not give a fuck at all. I hope you guys do the same thing. Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus R-Truth and Carmella. R-Truth and Carmella win here. So not only do they get a all expenses paid vacation to any destination that their heart desires, but they also get number 30 in their respective Royal Rumbles. Now, I know for a fact that's not going to stay, because just by the announcement of their vacation destination, I know for a fact that WWE is going to use this as nothing but comedy. R-Truth and Carmella win. Carmella makes Alicia Fox tap out with the code of silence, and R-Truth gets on the microphone and says, I took care of the destination for both of us. So Carmella's like, okay, is it Rome? Is it Barcelona? Is it Italy, Spain, France, blah, 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 right? So he says that he is taking both of them on a exclusive vacation to Stamford, Connecticut, and the WWE headquarters. Now, if they aren't going there to I guess, give Kevin Dunn a talking to, or to tell Vince McMahon that Raw is fucking garbage, or if they don't go there to legitimately take the pen away from this fucking man who writes the shows on Monday night, then there's no point in going there on vacation. But I guess it's going to be a nice little glimpse into Titan Tower, or WWE headquarters. But them coming out at number 30, Carmella number 30 in the Royal Rumble, R-Truth coming out at number 30 in the Royal Rumble, man, I'm not excited about that whatsoever. So I gotta wait through an entire hour of a Royal Rumble only for R-Truth to come out at number 30. Now, WWE hasn't done anything with number 30 in a couple of years now, so I really don't expect them to do anything with number 30. But number 30 historically should be a surprise guy. Like, oh my God, I didn't expect him, or someone that's just signed with the company, right? But R-Truth coming out at number 30 is definitely going to be changed. He's either going to come out at number 1 thinking it's number 30. He's either going to sell his ticket or his spot in the Royal Rumble for, I don't know, talent maybe? I don't know. Who gives a shit, really? This Mixed Match Challenge has been riddled with nothing but fucking injuries and late minute changes. Who gives a shit? I'm glad it's all over. And the fact that this opened the show and the Cruiserweights did not, man, complete slap in the face. To watch this open the show, and Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander got to compete on the pre-show. I don't like it. Let's actually start doing what's right in 2019. Even that is wishful thinking. Triple threat match. Smackdown tag team titles here. The New Day versus the Usos versus the Bar. Hey, we got a good match. We got a good match, man. You know, instead of giving a ladder match to Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin, which really didn't end up being anything by the end of the night. Could have took that stipulation away from them. Bobby Lashley and Elias on the fucking pre-show in a ladder match. Yes, a ladder match on the pre-show, if you even want to call it that. They were given a ladder match. I don't know why we couldn't get a TLC match with the women as scheduled in the main event. Don't know why we couldn't get a second TLC with Ambrose and Rollins, and this be a ladder match for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. These guys gave you a great match. These guys are fantastic at what they do. And they would have been fantastic inside of a ladder match as well, with the titles hanging above. That's what I wanted to see. But WWE didn't do that. They made the best with the situation that they were given, and this ended up being one of the best matches of the night. The Bar, the Usos, and the New Day all collectively work great together. I could sit and watch the Usos and the New Day wrestle all day long. That's how great they are, and that's how great their chemistry is. But I know a lot of you guys are feeling the same way. Enough is enough. These are the same 3 teams on SmackDown Live. I think now is the time, especially with the outcome of this match, where we got to get new blood injected on this show as far as tag team wrestling. Imagine if WWE takes tag team wrestling and treats it as a serious thing. You got the Usos, you got the Bar, and you got the New Day already as major staples on that show. You add other competitive tag teams to that division, and you're going to have a great fucking division that you're going to want to go out and watch perform. And I don't understand why they haven't done that yet. What are we going to get following TLC as far as the tag team titles? There's no other competition on that show. They got Sanity waiting. They got the Colognes, who are a fucking waste of everybody's time. But I don't understand why they haven't really warmed up to the idea that every time these teams go out there, it's always great. And imagine if you inject new blood into what these guys already do so great. I don't get it. I don't get it. But for tonight, we're here to talk about these three teams. This was a great match. The Bar retain the tag team championships. Jimmy Uso kicks Cesaro in the face, man. Kofi gets the tag, goes to cover Jimmy. Jay comes in. Kofi takes a big super kick. This was one of the best parts of the night. Everybody came unglued at the SAP Center. Jay comes in. Kofi gets a super kick. Woods gets a super kick. Sheamus and Cesaro get super kicks. The Usos giving super kick parties out inside the ring at TLC. Kofi ducks a super kick. He gets dropped into a Samoan drop by one of the Usos. Kofi kicks out at 2, thanks to Woods. Woods saved the day. It's just sheer chaos now. Cesaro comes in, saves the match. Cesaro goes and hits the Cesaro swing on Kofi Kingston. Fans are counting along. I think he swung Kofi about 14 different fucking times. And Woods comes in and makes the save, but Sheamus starts to clean house, man. I got to make something of a side note here on Sheamus. Sheamus looks to be in the best shape of that I think I've ever seen him in. He looks fucking great. Whatever he's doing on his YouTube channel, man, my God, he looks fantastic. Sheamus does. And there was rumors going around that Sheamus was actually suffering from spinal stenosis. And I don't think that's the case whatsoever, man. I think that was a bullshit report. He's operating at the same level that we've always known Sheamus to operate at. He looks great. Sheamus is in the ring now. He's pounding his chest, waiting for the bro kick. And he's measuring Kofi. He can't get it. Kofi rolls him up. Kofi hits a beautiful double stomp to the chest. Woods tags in. He goes to the top rope to hit his springboard elbow drop. Sheamus is too far away. Kofi, though, hits Trouble in Paradise, positions him where he needs to. Woods hits the elbow drop, and Usos come in to break the pinfall up. Cesaro then comes in. He gets sent to the floor with the Usos. Kofi leaps from the top with his trust fall, nails the big trust fall on all three as Big E's on the outside looking on. Sheamus and Woods are the legal men in the ring. Woods kicks Cesaro away off the apron after getting some shots in on Sheamus. Woods enters the ropes, but he's met with a huge bro kick from Sheamus, and that is the end of the match. The Bar retain the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships, and that was pretty much it, man. I thought the Usos were going to win this, but I guess WWE didn't want to go with the good old rinse and repeat method of giving the titles back to the Usos. I made a case for the Usos because I honestly still think they're the best tag team on SmackDown Live and in WWE. And I've always been one to say, if you're the best at what you do, you should be representing your division and your brand as a champion. But I guess we're getting the Bar, and hopefully we have new opponents for the Bar. You want to shake things up? Let's bring up a tag team from NXT and get some new blood on SmackDown Live. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Now, there were rumors going around with Baron Corbin, and him with Braun Strowman. Is Strowman going to be there? We heard all the rumors. Is Bray Wyatt going to come in and fill in for Braun Strowman? Is Baron Corbin going to win by forfeit? Is Braun Strowman going to come and bury Baron Corbin by himself with one arm? Because all I heard all week was that Braun Strowman was not going to be cleared. He was going to show up. He was going to be there. He was going to be in a sling, but he was not going to be cleared to compete. It's now official that he will be cleared by the Royal Rumble. That WWE completely mistimed what they thought was going to be a 3-4 week procedure. This is going to end up being a month and a half. So Braun Strowman was there, but he came out in a sling. Now, Baron Corbin's in the ring with Heath Slater. Heath Slater is his personal appointed referee. So JoJo's going over the stipulations of this match. Baron Corbin wins by forfeit like he expects to. He's the permanent Raw general manager. If Braun Strowman wins, then he's going to get Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for a Universal Championship match, and Baron Corbin will be fired from the Raw General Manager position. So Corbin takes the microphone in the ring, says he understands that there have been complaints, and please keep that in mind. There have been complaints about his job as GM. He takes these very seriously, and they don't fall on deaf ears. Just like every boss that you've ever worked for. Hey, Mr. Johnson, I have a complaint. These are long hours. I'm tired. I've worked 12 days in a row. Can I have a day off this week, please? And I just want to rest and recuperate so I can come back to work a little bit more refreshed. I don't care about your complaints. Duly noted. Put it in the suggestion box. I'll read it during the morning opening of the mail. Right? And then he never looks at it. The fucking suggestion box is piling up. It's like the suggestion box in WWE when they got an idea, right? If you listen to Justin Roberts' interview with anybody, he talked about how there was a suggestion box for different ideas creatively on TV. And if you got an idea, just put it in the suggestion box and somebody will read it. And then there was really no suggestion box. There was an arrow pointing down to a paper shredder. So if you have an idea, we don't give a shit. That's exactly what Baron Corbin said here. Your complaints don't fall on deaf ears. I listen to every fan and respect what they have to say. So here's what I have to say. Too bad. Get used to it. Corbin says after Slater counts to 10 and he wins by forfeit, he will be the new permanent GM. So Slater starts counting, right? This is very typical cringy fashion by WWE. He's counting all the way up to 6, 7, and then we hear Braun Strowman's music hit. I actually thought they were going to go to 9 and make it even more cringy, but they stopped at 7. So he counts to 7, and Strowman comes out, theme music, dressed to wrestle, right? But he's got one thing wrong with him. He's got an arm, the injured arm, in a black sling. He only has use of his one arm. So Strowman steps on the apron, and he grabs a microphone, but he mentioned something here that a lot of people didn't really address, and neither did Corbin. This is a TLC match, and the one thing that you fail to realize is that there are no disqualifications in TLC matches. So Strowman says it would be perfectly legal if someone wanted to, help him out. Someone who's tired of working for a crappy general manager. So all of a sudden we see Apollo Crews at ringside with a steel chair. We see Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. And I love Corey Graves here on commentary. He actually made mention that what are Chad Gable and Bobby Roode upset with? Baron Corbin gave them a tag team title match against the Authors of Pain, and they're the Raw Tag Team Champions. What the fuck do they have to be upset about? Now, instead of Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, I don't know. I don't even know why they're there. I guess they were undermined by Baron Corbin, but I don't know why the Revival wasn't out there. Now, the Revival have every right to be upset with Baron Corbin because he continues to allow the Lucha House Party to do the 3-on-2 advantage. 3 weeks in a row, we've lost to the Lucha House Party with these Lucha House Party rules. So I don't understand why both Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder weren't out there. Now, the only thing I can think of is that WWE right now considers the Revival pretty much dead. Especially after their recent tweets to both Matt and Nick Jackson saying that, it's only time that's holding us back from fighting you guys. You got Scott Dawson tweeting a fucking clock emoji to both the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Like, if WWE sees that, then, that's not going to sit well with them. So maybe the Revival ain't going anywhere. They'll be used on house shows, and they'll be used on main event until their contract runs out, and then WWE's going to let them go, right? But I don't know why this segment didn't include both the Revival. So Finn Balor then shows up with a steel chair. He's got every right to be upset with Baron Corbin. So we got Balor, Crews, Roode, and Gable. They all step up on the apron. Corbin backing away, right? Backing away. Slater then takes off his referee shirt and throws it at Baron Corbin. So they all beat down on Baron Corbin. Strowman's still watching from the apron. They all take turns with chair shots, and Corbin gets knocked out of the ring. He says, fuck this shit. Walking away from the ring, walking up the ramp. He's going to walk to the back. He's just walking away. Kurt Angle's music hits. Kurt Angle comes out dressed in street clothes. He's doing the "you suck" thing, right? And he grabs a steel chair from one of the many that are littered around the stage area because of the TLC set. Grabs a steel chair, nails Corbin in the gut, nails him with 2 or 3 chair shots. Corbin is chased back into the ring, and then everybody hits their finishing moves on Baron Corbin. Poor old Baron Corbin. So Angle grabs a chair, hits him with the chair. He's back in the ring. He gets a double-team moonsault neckbreaker combination from Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. It should have been a shatter machine. I think that would have popped big for this segment. Should have been a shatter machine, man. I still think should have been a shatter machine. Apollo Crews delivers a beautiful frog splash. Angle delivers the Angle Slam to Corbin, and then Balor follows up by probably what I think was the best coup de grace he's ever done there. He nailed Baron Corbin with that, and Strowman comes in. He literally doesn't even lift a finger to pin this guy. Steps on Baron Corbin. Slater then puts back on the referee shirt. Counts 1, 2, 3. That is it. Braun Strowman wins. Heath Slater, the official for this match, raises Braun Strowman's good arm. And Braun Strowman is going on to the Royal Rumble to fight Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Monday Night Raw. We all know Monday Night Raw has been a complete fucking tragedy on Monday nights. Everything with Baron Corbin has been god-awful. Everything that he's done to everybody that he doesn't like has been god-awful. Same old shit every single week. There's been no logic with Lashley and McIntyre by his side. None. It's just been completely boring in every sense of the word. But, I am going to give WWE credit here. I actually enjoyed this segment. Outside of the fact that I wish, again, the Revival were there because they have every right to be upset. I actually enjoyed this segment. And I really think WWE took the easy way out here. And they ended everything because it just needed to come to an end. That little loophole of, this is a TLC match. I don't need to wrestle. We were all talking about Bray Wyatt. I'm glad Bray Wyatt didn't come out. I'm glad they didn't waste Bray Wyatt's comeback or return for this fucking irrelevant garbage. They just used everybody. They were like, well, how do we get Braun Strowman out of this thing? He can't wrestle. We can't have him go in there and beat Baron Corbin with one arm. It'll look better if Baron Corbin's beat by 4 or 5 other guys. And that's exactly what they did. They took the easy way out. They just went back. They legitimately went back and scoured through the one script that they had written for fucking 6 shows. And they were like, who has Baron Corbin fucked over? Okay, Balor, Cruz, the team of Roode and Gable, right? Kurt Angle. We'll all get them in there. Everybody that's not really a part of the show. And we'll throw them in this segment, and they can beat down Baron Corbin and help Braun Strowman win. There you go. A collective of Monday Night Raw. People on Monday Night Raw who don't want Baron Corbin in power helped Braun Strowman win this match because there are no DQs in a TLC match. It was simple. It worked. It was effective. There was nothing really wrong with the segment. It wasn't cheesy. It made sense. Legitimately, it made sense. And I have absolutely no issues with this. As long as we are now over this, and come Monday Night Raw, we get... I wish we wouldn't get a new GM, because I hate the fucking GMs, how they're used on the main roster. I wish everybody would take counseling from William Regal on how to fucking be a GM on this show, but I think it's great. There's really nothing else for me to say about that. He'll probably announce McMahon. Kurt Angle's the new GM again on Monday Night Raw. I'm thinking maybe Angle or Hulk Hogan, if you really want to shake things up. It's going to happen eventually, right? These GMs never last. Hogan's eventually going to be a GM in 2019, if not tomorrow. But it was just laid out nicely. It was very simple. It was the simplest fucking solution to this dumpster fire that we've been given for the last 6 weeks. There you go. I don't know what else to say. It worked out, and it came off good at the pay-per-view. Natalya versus Ruby Riott. This feud didn't mean anything to me at all. I had no emotional investment in this feud. The one thing I will say about this feud is that I did have an issue with Jim the Anvil Neidhart image being shown, but I kind of understand that Natty did say that it brings her some sort of closure. So if she agreed to do it, then I guess I'm okay with it. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that And this is where people don't understand where I'm coming from. It's not the fact that it's being used in a feud. Like, I would personally go that route if I'm writing a storyline that actually had some fucking meaning to it. This storyline had no meaning. None. And if this was for a title, if this was a feud that's been going on for months and months and months, and it's gotten to a point where it's getting, very personal, then I would do it. The fact that WWE had to break out Jim the Anvil Neidhart and bring Natalya's deceased father into this storyline, it speaks to everybody as lazy writing. And I don't understand why people were so okay with that when the feud really didn't call for it. It never got to that point. Oh, she broke Natalya's glasses. Oh, she disrespected the jacket. Okay. Those things were anvils. You don't need to bring Anvil's fucking, entire being into this match. Put his fucking image on a table. And I know Ruby Riott's a heel, but she said, I'm going to put you through this table and you're going to be closer to your father than you've ever been before. I like that, but the feud never called for it because it never reached that point. Yes, it's a heel thing to do, but not for the level of feud that this was. And again, like I said, it's lazy writing. Also, if we can't talk about Roman Reigns in storyline anymore and his leukemia situation, there's no reason why we're talking about deceased relatives. Okay? It's the same thing. So, it's not necessary and it's lazy. WWE included Roman Reigns references in the Ambrose Rollins feud because they're lazy. They want to generate heat the most cheap way possible. This is the same fucking thing, only using Natalya's deceased father. Now, this match wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it honestly didn't do anything for me because I wasn't there emotionally. I wasn't there just invested in what these two characters are. Natalya, at the end of this thing, she took out all the Riott Squad. Liv Morgan took a brutal table spot in this match. She went flying off the apron, right through the table, and she actually tweeted out on Twitter that she had gotten sunburned on her ass. So whatever sunburn she has, I know hurts like a bitch. And she had to go through that table. Man, that had to hurt. So Liv Morgan went through a table. Sarah Logan went through a table. She was body slammed by Natalya through a table. And at the end of this thing, Natalya goes underneath the ring. She pulls out a table. Now, Ruby had the table with Jim the Anvil Neidhart's image on it. That was placed in the corner, slanted up against the turnbuckle. Natalya goes under the ring apron, and she pulls out a table with Ruby's image on it. So she slides that into the ring. She goes back underneath the ring, and she puts on Anvil's jacket. So now she's got a table with Ruby's image on it, and she's got Jim the Anvil Neidhart's jacket on. So they battle back, they battle back and forth, and Ruby's trying to make a comeback. They're up the top rope. Natalya has Ruby Riott in a very unprecarious position, and she power bombs Ruby Riott through the table, and Natalya wins, and that was pretty much it. Riott tried a hurricanrana, that failed, and like I said, Natalya was like, nope, you ain't getting this on me, you ain't putting me through the table with your image on it. She countered the hurricanrana and powerbombed Ruby Riott through the table, and Natalya wins, and that was pretty much it. After the match, she put on the sunglasses, she pointed up to heaven, because her father is no longer here with us, and that was it. That was it. It was pretty basic, and it was mainly filler. Mainly filler. And again, I don't know why this wasn't on a pre-show, or why this was even happening on a fucking pay-per-view. I don't know. There's no reason why this pay-per-view needed 12 matches. None. None whatsoever. There's no reason why this pay-per-view needed to be 4 hours. None whatsoever. And I'm going to make a little side note here, man. For everybody that, you can say, oh yeah, Alexa Bliss is hot and Sasha Banks is hot, man. I'm going to say something that might be very unpopular to some. And I know Kevin Castle of the Kevin Castle and Don Tony show made mention of this on Twitter. And I didn't really say anything on Twitter, but I'm going to say it here. I honestly think Ruby Riott is very attractive. And the differences between Ruby on NXT and Ruby now are fucking completely obvious. She's gotten a lot better looking on the main roster. I don't know what's been done to her. I don't know if her hair is longer or if her hair is a little bit more gothic or dark. But she looked great in that white outfit. I'm not going to lie. So that's just my honest opinion on that. Whether you agree with me or not, I really don't give a shit. But I think Ruby Riott is, attractive. And she's come a long way. And she's honestly one of the best females in the entire company. I hope that she gets her due diligence in 2019 because that woman is too good to not be without a fucking championship or competing for a championship. She's a great character. She can play the damn good heel that we all need, and she should be rewarded in 2019. I would love to see Ruby Riott versus Ember Moon or Ruby Riott versus Becky in 2019. The women need to be freshened up in 2019. Same thing with the tag team division. I wish they would merge these divisions together so we get some fucking consistency on these shows instead of the same goddamn shit every single week. Natalya wins, puts Ruby Riott through a table with a powerbomb, a table with her own image on it. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Man, was this boring. I don't know what it is, but this is the product of Monday Night Raw being fucking god-awful, and this is the product of giving us feuds that really don't matter to the general public watching this fucking program on a weekly basis. This was boring. And I haven't been a huge advocate of Finn Balor. I've complained when they've mistreated him and misused him, but at this point, it's too far gone. It's a lost cause. What I'm upset about is the fact that WWE seems to be wanting to push Drew McIntyre, and they're yanking the chain back ever so gently, and I don't know why. I really don't understand why. This match was fucking boring. Now, as far as Drew McIntyre goes, he and Balor, I'm sure, can have a much better match than what we were given tonight. McIntyre had some nice spots here with Finn Balor, tossing him around like a fucking sack of potatoes. You know, McIntyre is freakishly strong, and I love the way he moves in the ring. I just love everything about Drew. It's the fact that Drew McIntyre lost this match, and Finn Balor got a win. He got a win because of Dolph Ziggler, but Finn Balor got a win unnecessarily. I don't understand why Finn Balor is winning anything. I don't understand why Drew McIntyre didn't go over Dolph Ziggler on Monday Night Raw and then go over Finn Balor here. What's going on? I'd love to ask WWE something about this. Why? Drew McIntyre is supposedly your money piece on Monday Night Raw. Now, there's rumors going around that Triple H, this is a legitimate rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what I read today before the show. This was actually reported by Give Me Sport. And I'm not really a frequent visitor to their website, but I seen this, and this was probably the most interesting thing on their website when they got their WWE news sectioned off from everything else that they do. I seen this stick out like a sore thumb. Triple H and Vince McMahon are butting heads over what the main event of WrestleMania should be. Triple H wants Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Vince McMahon wants Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre for the main event of WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. Now, I don't think Braun Strowman is in a position to be champion of anything, let alone main event WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, clearly, I don't think that's the direction that they're going unless Drew McIntyre is going to win the fucking Royal Rumble and we're getting a reset in 2019 and they're just fucking around with him right now, or they felt like Finn Balor somehow needed a victory. I don't understand what they're doing with Drew McIntyre. But going back to that report, I mean, anybody with a fucking brain in their head would realize that the bigger match for WrestleMania in a co-main event, because nobody's main eventing over Becky, is Rollins and Lesnar. Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman is a sleep fest waiting to happen. And that's because of Braun Strowman. I don't think that I don't think that's going to be a match that's going to gel too nicely together. But here we are talking about Braun Strowman being the Universal Champion. Nobody wants to see that. I don't give a shit how over you think he is. These are the same people that think Becky is losing her luster. Braun Strowman is not as over as you think. Once they put a title on him, Universal title on him, I want to see you still. I want to see you still utter those same things. You'll be begging for WWE to take the title of Braun Strowman. He is not there. He will never be there on Monday Night Raw. Ever. Rollins and Lesnar have a history together, dating back to WrestleMania 31. The lasting image of Rollins swinging the WWE Championship around, and then the events that happened on the Monday night after that WrestleMania speak volumes. And the fact that WWE booked a rematch between Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins that was interfered by The Undertaker at Battleground that year, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory about what match is more main event worthy for WrestleMania. Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre does absolutely nothing for me. They are not there. Not in 2019 anyway. Maybe if you give them some fucking time to marinate or build them up properly, maybe in 2020. But 2019, if I'm sitting here and you put a gun to my head, choose one and dump the other. I'm going with Rollins and I'm going with Lesnar for the Universal Championship. But what they're doing with Drew McIntyre here, man, I don't really understand this. They're still hanging on to Dolph Ziggler for whatever fucking reason. He came in and interfered here. Balor wins because of Dolph Ziggler's interference. He comes from the crowd wearing a hoodie, and he gets a fucking boot to the face on the outside. He attacked Drew McIntyre first, and then Drew got up and laid him out. So Drew tosses Balor back in the ring. Ziggler comes from behind, like I mentioned, drops Drew at ringside with a super kick. Ziggler brings a steel chair. Drew kicks it in his face, knocks him out. Drew rolls Ziggler into the ring, and the referee tells him not to bring the chair in. So Drew brings it in, and Balor kicks it back to him. Now, again, Balor didn't hit him with the steel chair. It was Drew's fault for picking up the fucking chair. Balor just did what he had to do. He was going to do what he was going to normally do. So Balor goes up top, hits a coup de grace on Drew McIntyre for the pin and the win. What does this mean, win for Finn Balor? Nothing. Nothing. It's as if right now you're looking at it. Yeah, Finn Balor won. You're looking at it and it means nothing. It's better off being erased from the record books. Balor's not going to get a title shot. Balor's not going to advance anywhere on Monday Night Raw. But Drew McIntyre, it's more devastating for him to take a loss. Oh, but JD, Dolph Ziggler helped Finn Balor win. Really? Really? That's the excuse you're going to give me. So Drew lost to Ziggler. He comes back and destroys Ziggler the next week and then loses to Finn Balor. Who's the winner in all this? Who's the winner out of all three of these guys? None of them. None of them. Because Balor got a win over Drew McIntyre after being fucking buried on Monday Night Raw all year? He's somehow, some way, going to be elevated after tonight? Dolph Ziggler's going to be in main event contention? Drew McIntyre, how does he look to the fucking public eye? The one guy that you've consistently built on this show for months, getting another loss. So that's 2 losses in 3 weeks now for Drew McIntyre. If that doesn't say shitty booking, I don't know what does. Out of both of those guys, Ziggler and Balor, they're both going nowhere and fast. Drew McIntyre is the one that you've been elevating. But after tonight, I don't think you're doing anything but bringing him down. Complete fucking stupidity having Balor win this match. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Drew McIntyre anymore. Maybe, like I mentioned, they're waiting until January to hit the reset on Drew McIntyre and have him have a big showing in the Royal Rumble. But people are always going to go back to this. Well, he lost to Balor. You know? Now Balor and Ziggler are booked on Monday Night Raw. I could tell you what's going to happen. Drew McIntyre's going to come in there and he's going to fucking lay both guys out. Try and get his heat back. Typical WWE booking. This was not entertaining at all. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. Chairs match. This was another match that really, really let me down big time. This was a complete waste of everybody's time. Now, I came into this fairly excited because I've loved what Randy Orton's done on SmackDown Live. I honestly thought, well, with chairs and no rules, imagine what Randy Orton can do. He's been playing a great heel role on SmackDown Live. Out of all the heels in this company, Randy Orton has been booked perfectly. Rey Mysterio, he's come back. He's one of those guys that you're happy to have back, but he's fallen right into the WWE web of normality. There's nothing special about Rey Mysterio. Nothing. He might have had some special luster about him when he came in, but now that he's on the WWE roster, he just feels like everybody else. I was talking about Randy Orton and his sadistic ways, what he could do wielding a steel chair, the creativity that could flow through Randy Orton's sick mind. Same thing with Rey Mysterio. You know, king of the luchadors, they say, right? Imagine what he could do with a steel chair, all the creative things he could do in a chairs match. We've seen one creative move in this match by Rey Mysterio, and then that was it. One creative move by Rey Mysterio, which was him pretty much gliding on a steel chair underneath the bottom rope and delivering a splash with the steel chair on Randy Orton on the outside. That was it. The rest of this match was Rey hitting Orton with a steel chair in the back, or trying to evade Randy Orton because he was moving so methodically and slowly like a fucking viper waiting to prey on his next meal. That's all it was. It was Randy Orton moving slow as molasses, very nonchalant, not even wanting to be there almost. That's the attitude I got from Randy Orton and the way he moved around. It felt like he didn't even want to be there. And if I'm Randy Orton, I'm thinking the same thing. Why the fuck am I here? Why the fuck am I here? I'm in a chairs match with Rey Mysterio that means absolutely nothing on SmackDown Live. I could be home fucking my wife and making baby number 6. That's what I could be doing. Here, while I'm here in front of these fucking people and nobody's making a goddamn sound. In a chairs match of all things. This is the exact reason why these gimmick pay-per-views need to go away. Who the fuck gives a shit about a chairs match? Really? This is what we've resulted in with TLC. I don't get it. I don't get it. You had something nice brewing here with Randy Orton taking the mask off Rey Mysterio. This feud is dead. Dead. I don't care. And the fact that we've seen this fucking 1,000 times already between these two guys, you think a chairs match is going to inject some fucking, I guess, newness into it? Some freshness? No. Not for me. I was half falling asleep during this fucking thing. And here's the best part. Randy Orton sets up 4 steel chairs. Now, I didn't expect this guy to set up a fucking, collage of steel chairs and just channel his inner Pentagon Jr. and deliver a fucking package pile driver on Rey Mysterio through fucking a barrage of chairs. But I was hoping something cool was going to happen. I was hoping something sadistic and brutal was going to happen. You got Randy Orton setting up 4 fucking steel chairs side by side, right? Rey knocks him into one of the chairs. He legitimately set these chairs up. Randy Orton was knocked into the chairs, sits down in one of the chairs, and then with some momentum off the ropes, Rey Mysterio pulls Randy Orton off the chair and rolls him up for a pinfall, only to run up the apron and escape a very frustrated Randy Orton with a victory. Who produced this match? This was fucking terrible. If this doesn't get to WWE, that they need to eliminate these gimmick pay-per-views, then I don't know what will. This was an embarrassment. Especially for Randy Orton's character. He did nothing that got me excited and did nothing to advance his new heel character. He didn't pull out any new sadistic, I guess, shit to Rey Mysterio. He didn't brutalize Rey Mysterio. It's like he took the mask and then, I got the mask. What else is there for me to do to Rey Mysterio? I'm going to take my time and then I lose in a very embarrassing way. This was awful. This did not need to be on the show at all. They could have cut this match from the show and did this on SmackDown Live. Rey Mysterio wins and it means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. If you by the way, if you care, they interviewed Finn Balor after his match. He wasn't happy about Dolph Ziggler helping him, right? So Ziggler comes over, has some words, right? Oh, you don't appreciate my help? Excuse me? And then Balor tells Ziggler to keep his nose out of his business next time because he didn't need his help. So Ziggler throws Balor into some production cases, and apparently he turned heel again, as if anybody fucking cares. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. There was I want to say there was some excitement to the crowd here. And at this point, I'm like, okay, we're getting into, I guess, the bulk of the show. Finally, we're getting into the most important parts of the show. Now, if you guys remember back to Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey, what was it, Money in the Bank? They had their match in the summer. That was Ronda Rousey winning the Raw Championship, the Raw Women's Championship from Nia Jax. It was a good match. It surprised a lot of people. It wasn't as bad as everybody was expecting it to be. But in that match during the summer, you could have easily seen that Ronda was, not in command. Nia was a little bit more on the leader side of things in that match. Wasn't a bad match. Ronda hung, right? She didn't get killed. She didn't, get injured via a botch or anything like that. It ended up being a hard-fought match, and it ended up actually being very watchable, okay? Now, you look back at that match and compare it to this one, Ronda Rousey is so much better than she was in June now, and I don't think a lot of people are realizing that. There's going to be some detractors out there that state that Ronda Rousey is nothing but, a glory hog, and she's not good, or she doesn't belong here, or that she's a failure, etc., etc. I got my reasons for Ronda not being the Raw Women's Champion. I don't think she needs the championship, right? But I'm not complaining because we're getting a good fucking story out of it. I understand why they gave her the championship. She's the biggest name in the entire division. And with Ronda being the Raw Women's Champion, you look at the rest of the women on that roster that are intentionally being held back. They got nothing to fight for. This is the reason why WWE is going to institute tag team titles. So, when something like this happens, at least the other women have something to fight for. But Ronda Rousey tonight, remember when I said Nia Jax was the leader in that match against a green Ronda? Nia Jax is still green, but she had to somehow command a leadership role in that match to bring Ronda to a decent match. This time it was the other way around. Ronda brought Nia to a good match, and Ronda was the leader. Ronda is picking up on this every event she goes out there in a one-on-one situation. You could see that. The only thing I wish that they would change with Ronda is when she smiles. Like, there's no need to smile tonight. You're coming to TLC to break this woman's arm. You're not coming to the ring to smile and wave. You're coming to fight. Okay, if she was going to the UFC, or she's walking to the Octagon on pay-per-view night, she's not fucking smiling at the fans. Okay? So cut the shit. The second thing that they need to change about Ronda Rousey, if Ronda Rousey, again, was walking to the Octagon, she's not going to be wearing 3 pounds of makeup on her face. She looks like a fucking circus clown. Seriously. My buddy Jesse was texting me. His wife even mentioned. I don't even think she watches the fucking product. She may glance at the product when he's watching it, but she knows who Ronda Rousey is. She even mentioned too much makeup. And the exact words that she used, she said that she looks like a $20 hooker. I can't really sit here and disagree with that statement. She looks ridiculous. What is with the makeup? I don't really get the overabundance of makeup. I understand some makeup maybe, but Jesus Christ, can you go a little bit of a more natural look? You have nothing to make this woman naturally stand out. Ronda Rousey is a very attractive female, in my opinion. Does she need an abundance of makeup on? To the point where she looks like fucking Doink the Clown. She was wearing Doink the Clown colors. I don't know if she's fucking wrestling for the Raw Women's Championship in a defense against Nia Jax, or she's auditioning to be the new Ronald McDonald. Please, please. I understand you need to pretty everybody up. But my God, can we tone down the makeup on Ronda? If it's not looking like a $20 hooker waiting for a blowjob down in some dark alley somewhere, she looks like some fucking weird alien creature from an unknown planet. God. Anyway, this was probably the best match up until this point on this show, and that's coming from me. That's saying a lot. Coming from me. And my absolute fucking nauseous feeling towards Nia Jax. Match wasn't half bad. Match wasn't half bad at all. Now, like I mentioned, you gotta give Ronda Rousey credit. And for all the people that say Ronda's not good, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Yes, there's things about Ronda I don't like. Yes, I mentioned that she smiles too much in the makeup, and her promos just seem completely unnatural. The way she delivers them, they sound overly scripted. It doesn't sound natural. Yes, there are things about Ronda's shtick that I don't like, but I'm not going to take anything away from Ronda Rousey. I'm not going to sit here and tell you she's not good. Until you can go in the ring and do what she does, shut your fucking mouth. But as far as what I see, I've been watching WWE for 30 years. I think I know a thing or three. Okay? I know when someone sells good. I know when someone makes a match a little bit more believable. Ronda Rousey not only has got her selling down, Ronda Rousey knows when to come back. She makes a comeback look believable. And she's a little bit more free-flowing in the ring. Everything just looks a little bit more natural. She doesn't look like she's stepping on her own toes. This is what I see. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. You know, a lot of people want to say that I'm negative. This show was not good tonight. 12 matches and only 3 of them delivered. 4 of them. So 4 out of 12. Not really a good ratio, if you ask me. Okay? That's below 50%. It's not a good show. Ronda Rousey retains the title. This was a good match, though. They made a believer out of me. I knew Nia Jax wasn't going to win the title, but at least they made the near falls look believable, and the crowd was actually fucking invested, which added another layer to the match. That made it a good match. So Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax are on the outside, right? Ronda Rousey goes up top, hits a huge crossbody, beautiful crossbody off the top rope. Ronda Rousey doing crossbodies to the outside on Nia Jax. Nicely done. Nicely done. Ronda brings it in the ring for a 2 count. Rousey bounces around and starts to look at Jax. Starts to look at the Nia Jax and wants to put Nia Jax away. Ronda Rousey ends up connecting with a huge step-up right hand for a 2 count. Okay? Rousey goes back up for another crossbody, but Jax rolls through and powers up Ronda with a big Samoan drop. Rousey kicks out at 2. Jax keeps control, sends Rousey into the corner for a splash. Jax scoops Rousey up, and she puts Ronda on her shoulders, taking her to the second rope. She wants to do a Samoan drop, like she mentioned here, or that I mentioned here that she did, 2 count. She wants to do a super Samoan drop. Rousey starts elbowing Nia Jax in the face. They're up top. Rousey slides out and goes for a sunset flip powerbomb. She struggles to get Nia off the ropes as Nia's holding on. She eventually gets Nia, and she flips Nia down into the powerbomb off the second rope down to the mat. So she goes for a cover, 2 count. Rousey goes over, tries for the armbar, but Jax resists. She locks the wrists. Tamina Snuka gets on the apron, and Rousey, like a dumbass, goes to reach for Tamina, completely taking her attention away from Nia Jax. Ronda Rousey, the fighter, is taking her eye off her opponent. Why are we booking a legit fighter to be legit stupid in this situation? Tamina has absolutely no fucking bearing on what's happening here, especially with the referee there. Now, if Tamina wanted to do that to distract the referee for Nia Jax to hit her with an illegal object or a right hand or a fucking closed fist or some brass knuckles or something, then I would understand. But nope, WWE produces this match in a way that makes Ronda Rousey look like a fucking dumbass. Tamina comes into the ring halfway underneath the bottom rope. Ronda Rousey leaves Nia Jax all by herself to go over to pull Tamina's hair to drag her into the ring, and then Nia Jax takes advantage of this idiocy by Ronda Rousey. So Jax misses her big right hand. She's going for the big right hand, right? Ronda Rousey turns around, misses the big right hand off the distraction. Rousey climbs Jax's body, brings her into the middle of the ring with the armbar. Jax continues to resist the hold. Rousey turns to Tamina to taunt her while tightening the armbar on Jax. Ronda Rousey then kisses Nia Jax's fist and then puts her in the armbar, and Nia Jax taps out. Ronda Rousey wins, and she retains the Raw Women's Championship. It was. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a very good match. I enjoyed it better than their first match just because of the way Ronda operated here. But, I mean, there are things that I don't like what they do with Ronda. That Tamina thing really didn't sit well with me. You know, some of the things that she has in her character portrayal I still don't like. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you Ronda Rousey is not ready for a WrestleMania main event. She's absolutely fucking ready. And not only by name value alone, but by WrestleMania, if she's this good now, imagine what she's going to do with Charlotte and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. It's going to be a damn good fucking event for all 3 of those women, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Moving on. After the match, Remember Nia Jax and the right hand, and she broke Becky Lynch's face? Well, Nia Jax was walking through the curtain. She was walking backstage. Tamina nowhere to be found. Becky Lynch approaches Nia Jax backstage. Becky then says, remember me? And all the stuff about you breaking my face? Becky then kicks Nia Jax in the gut and punches her right in the face. And Nia Jax lands on some production, crates. And Becky walks away. That was pretty much it. Tamina comes over, rushes over to Nia Jax. She looks at Tamina, and Nia Jax laughs at Becky Lynch. I hope WWE goes through with what we're talking about as Becky enters the Royal Rumble, and Tamina and Nia Jax are there waiting for her, and she wins the Royal Rumble by eliminating Nia Jax. That's the way to do it. That's the way the story should be told. We'll see what happens. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship here. Monday Night Raw was blown away by SmackDown Live as far as match quality goes. Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax, they were the only saving grace from Monday Night Raw. Everything else on Raw's side was completely garbage. SmackDown had the best matches of the night, no question. So there's no doubt in my mind who the B show is here in WWE. It's definitely the red brand. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, before the show actually took place, Daniel Bryan was threatening, I believe, Kathy Kelly, saying that he is now going to make the WWE Championship in his own image with a hemp leather or a hemp material instead of this leather that these plebeians are using, right? These non-vegans are using. So if WWE goes through with making a hemp title for Daniel Bryan, I think that is absolutely fucking brilliant. I can't sit here and tell you I don't love that, man. I absolutely love everything about that. I'm loving this new heel Daniel Bryan, man. He's absolutely been fantastic at everything he's done. AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. There's a reason why they took the WWE title off of AJ Styles. It's because A, he's negotiating a new contract. B, he was burnt out. He's held the title for 370 plus days, and he wants a lighter schedule. He wants the Randy Orton treatment. He wants the Randy Orton schedule. So WWE has put a lot of effort into this new Daniel Bryan, and going into this match, I didn't really think that Daniel Bryan was going to lose the title. It would be foolish to put the title on him and then take the title off of Daniel Bryan to put it only on AJ Styles. Now, there were rumors going around that Randy Orton and AJ Styles is penciled in for WrestleMania. That still very well could be the case, but it would look way more attractive if AJ Styles and Randy Orton was for the WWE title. On the same side of the coin for SmackDown Live, Daniel Bryan is penciled in for a match with Shawn Michaels. Now, if Daniel Bryan is still the WWE champion going into WrestleMania, is it going to be a title match with Shawn Michaels? Does it even happen? Or does WWE get very lazy with Daniel Bryan and give us a Daniel Bryan versus Miz match, but with the roles reversed at WrestleMania? At this point, that doesn't look attractive to me at all. At all. This was the best match up until this point on the show. This was an excellent match. And it embodied everything that I expected from these two if they were given free reign to do whatever they want. I'm loving Daniel Bryan not only as a heel, but I'm loving the fact that I don't know if it's true or not, I'm just assuming here. I feel like Daniel Bryan has that creative control for his character a little bit more so than we do realize. Because the Mustafa Ali thing had to be a Daniel Bryan call. There's no reason why WWE put Mustafa Ali in that situation. That is so beyond them. It's not even funny. That was a Daniel Bryan call. I would not be surprised if reports come out a couple weeks from now saying that was a Daniel Bryan creative call. The match with AJ Styles here was a Daniel Bryan creative call, man. They got better treatment in this feud than AJ has ever gotten with Joe and with Nakamura. I loved everything about this match. This was a great match. From Daniel Bryan's taunting, to Daniel Bryan's facial expressions, to Daniel Bryan being somewhat of a coward heel, backing out of the ring and rolling out of the ring, to just anger AJ Styles a little bit more. Even the fact that Daniel Bryan tried to say, I'm sorry, and then pretend like, he's being, I guess, sorry for what he's done to AJ Styles, only to say, fuck you, I'm not really sorry. I love everything about Daniel Bryan that's going on right now. And this match was definitely a product of him having a little bit more leeway with who he wants to work with and how he wants to work with them. That's the vibe I got. And I hope you guys feel the same way. This was a great match, though. Absolutely great match. AJ goes for a reversed moonsault, DDT from the corner, blocked. Bryan with several knee strikes to the face. Bryan with a big German suplex for a 2 count. Bryan with kicks while AJ is on his knees. The last levels of AJ for a 2 count. Now, the yes kicks are no more. I don't know what he's calling them. I don't know if he's calling them the no kicks, but with every kick, there was a no rang out by the crowd. Crowd was into this as well. And there is a huge issue with the crowd being so invested in this match and then what came after this match, which I'll talk about in a second. They go back and forth. AJ springboards in with a forearm, can't hit it. Bryan with a dragon screw leg whip. AJ ends up slamming Bryan's leg around the ring post several times. Bryan comes back with an enziguri, more strikes in the corner. Referee's counting. Bryan then takes it to the top for a hurricanrana. That's counted. He got it turned into a Styles Clash, or at least an attempted one. This leads AJ to not going for the Styles Clash, but he tried to go for what I think was a Boston Crab. He lost his footing at this point. And I love the fact that Tom Phillips or Corey Graves, one of them, made mention of the fact that the fatigue in the match has caused AJ to lose his balance and lose his footing up until this point in the match. So he can only do a half crab submission. I really like that attention to detail. I think the commentators at certain points, excuse me, at certain points during this entire thing were on. And I like the story that they tried to tell. Working on the knee, and Bryan almost tapped, but he crawled to the bottom rope. AJ repositions, but Bryan ends up applying the no yes lock. It's now the LeBell lock. No more yes lock. So he renamed it the LeBell lock, the actual move. Fans chant, "This is awesome." Crowd loving it. They get up and trade shots in the middle of the ring. We're getting a brawl now after some, potential submissions, and we're getting a nice wrestling match. Now they're going at it one-on-one. Bryan kicks AJ back into the corner. Bryan then charges from the opposite side, but AJ drop kicks him. AJ ends up springboarding in with a big 450, but somehow Bryan kicked out at 2. AJ ends up applying the calf crusher on Bryan in the middle of the ring. Bryan is looking towards the bottom rope and finally makes it, man. He rolled through the calf crusher by AJ Styles. Bryan rolls to the floor, starts clutching his knee. The knee is now the issue. Fans again chant, "This is awesome." Bryan rolls back to the floor and sells the leg injury. AJ follows, but Bryan hits him in the face. Bryan sends AJ into the barricade. He jumps over into the timekeeper's area. AJ hits Bryan with a forearm. AJ then flies over the barrier and rocks AJ, or Bryan rather. AJ brings it back in at a 7 count. AJ waits and calls for the phenomenal forearm, but runs into the referee as Bryan goes under. They trade attempts, and Bryan gets the roll-up on the mat for the pin, the clean pin, and Daniel Bryan retains the WWE Championship. Might not be a clean pin to you because of the inadvertent possible referee spot there, but regardless, it's something that happened in the match. It was a happenstance, right? Referee might have been out of position and in the wrong place at the wrong time, but that's not Daniel Bryan's fault. Daniel Bryan did what he had to do. He didn't low blow anybody. He didn't cheat. He won clean. He rolled them up. Bryan wins. AJ looks dumbfounded in the middle of the ring. And that was pretty much it. There was no way they were going to take this title off of Daniel Bryan. I don't know where they go from here. Maybe. What I could see possibly happening here is that they traded submissions back and forth quite a bit in this match. The LeBell lock, you got the calf crusher, you got the half crab in the middle of that ring. The knee injury or the knee spot was, a vital point in the selling of this match towards the end. Maybe we get one more match at the Royal Rumble and we get a submission match between Bryan and Styles at the Royal Rumble. I think that could be a possibility going forward. Other than that, I really don't know who Daniel Bryan's going to go up against and defend the WWE Championship against at the Royal Rumble. Maybe they continue this thing. It does seem like it's a little too early to end this, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it's a submission match at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. Intercontinental title, man. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This match was fucking terrible. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit what you thought of the match. This match was god awful. I legitimately started to close my eyes during the introductions of both men. And I wanted so badly to keep my eyes closed during this match because I physically heard the crowd not make one single peep. I get text messages sent to me, man, how do you feel about this match? This is boring. I even make a Twitter video saying this is god-awful. Who produced this match and why is it so slow? And then immediately after the video posts to Twitter, fans begin a chant of this is boring. Why were they chanting this is boring, might you ask? Another Seth Rollins match in which they chant this is boring. Whoever's producing Seth Rollins matches this year, you've given Seth Rollins 2 instances now this year that I very fondly remember. One against Ziggler at Extreme Rules, and this against Dean Ambrose at TLC, where they got this is boring chants. Whoever's producing Seth Rollins matches needs to step away and get somebody else involved to book Seth Rollins matches or produce Seth Rollins matches. There's no reason why Seth Rollins is having a match and fans are chanting this is boring. In fact, it might not even be for the in-ring work. This goes to show you that WWE has half-assed this feud so badly, and this is the end result. WWE had a fantastic heel turn with Dean Ambrose. Fantastic. I loved everything about that heel turn. They won the tag team titles. It was on the night Roman announced he had leukemia. It was the most emotional night in the Shield's history. And in Monday Night Raw history. And what does Ambrose do? He shits all over that. Great move. Loved it. Now that's something that you could bring a real life instance in because they have history together. They know each other better than everybody. So the people that didn't like that, I loved every fucking second of that. Now what happened after that, that is just completely god-awful. We got Bane Ambrose. We got Ambrose injecting himself with fucking antivirus just to keep himself clean from all the fucking plagues around every city that he goes to, the diseases. He doesn't want to catch anything from dirty people. And he didn't give us the why. He didn't give us why he turned on the Shield. All we got was, I thought that the Shield was better together. Now I'm realizing that the Shield was never at their peak when they were together. That I'm much better off by myself. You still haven't told me why. You still haven't told me why you think that. All you did was burn the vest. All you did was, proceed to tell Rollins that he's a hog, spotlight hog, and he's got a massive ego. Why do you think that? You never gave us the why. And then WWE proceeds to book them, not only in this match, but WWE proceeds to book them on Monday Night Raw and have them go tit for tat. We got Ambrose coming out and attacking Rollins, giving him dirty deeds. We got some brawls on Monday Night Raw to build hype for the match. And nothing is resonating. Nothing is clicking with the audience. And then they want to make it an Intercontinental Championship match. At no point, none. It might have been mentioned once. But for as long as these guys have been feuding, if the Intercontinental title is not at a fucking next pace with why you're feuding with each other, then what is the fucking point of A, having the title on Rollins, and B, having this match be an Intercontinental Championship match? I don't get it. Why was this match boring, JD? Because they didn't give you any reason to care. They didn't give you any reason for the title to be important, and they didn't give you any reason to care about both fucking guys. Toppled on top of that is the fact that Dean Ambrose's heel turn has been fucking god-awful. We got comedy, cheesy, funny, joking Dean Ambrose instead of the psychotic Dean Ambrose that we need to see. The psychotic Dean Ambrose that should have gave us an explanation as to why he betrayed Seth Rollins on Roman Reigns walking away and dropping the Universal Championship because he has leukemia. We never got that reason. Where's that Ambrose? I don't know. I'm still wondering where he is. So, all that bundled up into one big fucking present with a nice little bow on top. This is why people were chanting, this is boring. Seth Rollins matches have started off at a fucking snail's pace, man. I don't know whether I'm watching a Giant Gonzalez Great Khali match or I'm watching a Seth Rollins match. When you watch Seth Rollins, you want it to start off at a fucking mid-pace tempo. We're starting off trying to tell this story, and the match itself starts off with a fucking hammerlock. These two guys are embroiled in a blood feud, and you're starting the fucking match off with a hammerlock, and the story of the match revolves around Seth Rollins selling a knee injury? What am I watching here? I'm better off watching Days of Our Lives. I'll get a better fucking story. Or General Hospital. What is this shit? The way that you made this fucking feud sound, these guys should have been ripping each other's throats out. This was a slow-paced match to a point where I thought that they were fighting over the last fucking cup of Jell-O at the old age home. This is what we got for the Intercontinental Championship. This is what we got for the Dean Ambrose-Seth Rollins feud. This is boring. This match was fucking terrible in every sense of the word. And like I said, I'm all for a great story. Believe me. You're not going to find anybody else who appreciates a great story more than me. But what was the story going into this? The in-ring work wasn't bad. What was the story? You didn't give me the why. You never gave me the why. And you never made the title feel like it was important to any of these guys. So why the fuck should I care? Dean Ambrose wins the Intercontinental Championship. Now, if WWE didn't give Dean Ambrose the Intercontinental Championship, then I would really be questioning everything about the Intercontinental Championship. It might have seemed unimportant during the feud, but there was only one outcome here. Rollins doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship. He never needed the Intercontinental Championship. They put it on him because it was a safe haven. Now the title is on a heel. Now maybe we could get someone like Elias or Finn Balor or Apollo Crews to be built up for the Intercontinental Championship. If Dean Ambrose wants to somehow get right back on track and deliver us a good heel character, which I highly doubt will happen. This feud is not over. It's not over. This is going on into the Royal Rumble. No question. If you think this is over after tonight, you're a fool. I wish it was, but it's not. And if this is any indication of what these two guys do in the ring, I don't want to see it ever again. I don't give a shit about what these two guys do together. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say these two guys work terribly together. They don't have good chemistry. They don't. And it probably has more to do with Ambrose. Rollins is not the problem. Ambrose's style in WWE is fucking terrible. I don't know what it is about him. Before he went out with injury, he's the same fucking way. Nothing has changed about Ambrose. His moveset does not look believable. He's added nothing new after being away for 10 months, 9 months, however long he's been gone. Nothing. It's the same old shit. Same old fucking expressions, same old mannerisms, same old movement. Nothing has changed about Dean Ambrose. Why am I going to care? You pretty much took Dean Ambrose from when we seen him in January. He's the same way now in December, and the only thing that's changed is he turned on the biggest babyface on Raw. So he's the same Dean Ambrose that we got, but this time he's a bad guy. But he's acting the same way. Funny and goofy and cheesy. I don't know whether you are mental or you need some fucking help in furthering along this storyline. Because from what I see, they're trying desperately to inject some Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa into this shit. It's not working. We got none of those guys being cheesy and campy and fucking clowning around and joking around, pretending like everything's alright. That's a blood feud. If you guys needed a blueprint on what to do with these two guys, there you go. You've done nothing, nowhere close to that. And at this point, I'm over it. Done. Ambrose wins the title. Dirty deeds. Rollins again looked like a fucking idiot. Rollins brings Ambrose back in the ring. Rollins grabs Ambrose's face and says he didn't want it to come to this. This is the fight you wanted, Ambrose? You got it. Rollins goes on talking shit. Says this is for Roman Reigns. He bounces off the ropes. Ambrose comes back with the dirty deeds. And that was it. Done. 1, 2, 3. Ambrose is the new Intercontinental Champion. Main event. Main event. Thank God this was the main event. This was the best thing on the entire fucking show. And I'm sure everybody anticipated it will be. Asuka, Charlotte, Becky, SmackDown Live Women's Championship, Triple Threat, TLC match. I am going to make a non-wrestling judgment here. I honestly think, and I don't know why I haven't mentioned this, man. I know a lot of people think the same way, but they won't say it. Charlotte's tit job, boob job, her breast enlargement, whatever, her breast fixation, whatever she did. Man, I don't know. I mean, they look too big for her body. She looks ridiculous. You know, I don't know if you like that type of thing, but whatever. She looks fucking ridiculous. It's like they get bigger every time I fucking see her. That's the one observation I got right there. So let's get back into the wrestling. Anyway, this match was fucking great. This match was fantastic. A few news and notes on this match from me here personally, from what I've seen in this match. Becky is still over to the point where she was just a couple months ago. That hasn't changed. So for all the detractors or the haters or all the people who love Becky and now don't like Becky because the majority like Becky, shut your fucking mouth. Okay, she's over. Asuka, I love the way Asuka has this new renewed, I guess, attitude. You know, she looked very defeated and very comedic on SmackDown Live. It's like I'm seeing Asuka of old. Asuka has some of the best intensity in all of WWE, man. When that woman is fucking pissed, I love watching her, man. She's so fucking good at what she does. I honestly think the standout in this match tonight, now we all love Becky, right? We all love Becky, but my God, man, you know, I could rag on Charlotte Flair. I could sit here and I could fucking make fun of her promos and call her an android and make fun of the way she cuts a promo, whatever. I will never, ever, ever, ever take her for granted in that ring, man. She is fucking fantastic. Especially in the last couple of months, man. Coming out of Evolution, Charlotte has been fucking great. And it's very difficult to sit here and say otherwise. That woman has stepped up her intensity and single-handedly taken a very boring, you know, Charlotte Flair character. I'm entitled, I'm the queen, I get everything handed to me, blah, blah, blah. It's the same old shit, which may very well still be the case. You know, a lot of people don't like Charlotte because she's, you know, given shit, and there's a political thing about Charlotte where she got to be handed everything, and she's going to break her father's world title record with the women's title just because that's what WWE does. They have this fixation on breaking fake records. But this woman is unbelievable. The intensity that she has just kind of acquired over the last couple of months is unbelievable. The fact that she goes out there, Charlotte, I don't recall Charlotte ever being the type of woman to go out there and just literally let it all hang out. She gives zero fucks at all. She goes in there and she gets a fucking beating. And I don't know what changed, but the believability in Charlotte when she dishes out a fucking move or a beating, man, it's unreal. This is the type of shit I want to see. The one thing that I always have an issue with, even when I do commentary at House of Glory, and, you know, the women that come into House of Glory too, the one thing that I have, as far as a critique, is that there's not enough intensity. You know, when I watch wrestling, no matter if you're a male or a female, I want to see balls to the wall. I want to see you fucking let everything hang out, and I want you to fucking fight like you mean it. I want you to fucking, obviously stay within your boundaries, but I want you to make it fucking believable. A lot of the women go in there and they're afraid of getting their hair pulled, or they're afraid of breaking a nail, or they're afraid to fly around and take a bump. Charlotte, Asuka, and Becky fly around and take a fucking beating, take risks that women should not be taking. They take risks for the sake of fucking bringing equality to both, the women's division and wrestling in general, and this thought on women's wrestling. These women have outshined the men in every sense of the word on this pay-per-view, no question. But coming out of Evolution, Becky, Charlotte did their thing at Evolution in that great main event. They have not only blown away the men in every aspect, intensity, storytelling, just match quality, they have single-handedly taken this Evolution and they've made it into a fucking division that we give a shit about on SmackDown Live. Now we got Ronda, who's kind of integrating herself into what Becky and Charlotte are doing, but we finally get a sense that this is a division that we all give a shit about. This is the start of the evolution right here. We've been paddling up the fucking, the river at a slow pace. Now we're starting to get the real evolution. And it's all because of what Becky, Charlotte, you can even include Asuka now, what Ronda's doing, and it's going to continue on through WrestleMania and Royal Rumble season. I love it. And Becky's right there. This newfound attitude by Becky. Yeah, it's new. It's been happening for a couple of months, but everybody loves it. People want to say Becky's dead, but when the woman tweets, you look at I'm a big numbers guy, man. I have to be. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a content creator. Or a normal one, at least. When I look at analytics on Twitter, Charlotte will tweet something, 6,000, 7,000 likes. Becky tweets something, 30,000, 40,000 likes. You telling me that woman is not fucking over? You telling me that her reactions are lackluster now? The fuck are you watching? The only thing lackluster about Becky Lynch, depending on what crowd that she's performing in front of. Tonight, the crowd was complete garbage most of the night until the main event. Everybody in that arena was on their feet chanting, "This is awesome." And the women went out there and took fucking risks. They made it believable. On what other show? Especially on WWE. I shouldn't say anything else about any of the promotion because I don't know what happens in Japan or anywhere else. But the women here in WWE, when have you ever seen women take this amount of fucking punishment and risks to give you a fucking story that you can honestly be excited about? Becky Lynch jumping off ladders onto Charlotte Flair. Right? Steel chairs being swung around with ferocity that would make the men fucking scared. Kendo stick shots that the Sandman would fucking be afraid of. This is good shit. This match was fucking fantastic. Was it better than Becky and Charlotte at Evolution? I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to go back and watch it again. But right now, I think it's about even. And the way that WWE ended this thing, not really the ideal situation I wanted, but it was a situation that at least they met us halfway with. This was a great fucking match. Had every fucking deserving right to be the main event. Every deserving right to be the main event. This thing started off kind of slow, but after 10 minutes, I'm like, yep, this is no doubt in my mind the fucking main event of this show. So, I'm going to pick up towards the middle of this match. This is where shit really, really started to break down. We got a few botches. By the way, Charlotte handling a table. She doesn't need to be handling tables anymore, man. She just has bad luck with tables. There was a table spot in the beginning of this match where Asuka suplexed Charlotte over her head against a table that was propped up horizontally in the corner. The table broke, but I would say 10% of the fucking table broke, and Charlotte landed on the table with her head bouncing off the table and the lower portion of the table breaking due to her backside. But the rest of her head and neck did not go through the table. She hit that to a point where I'm thinking this woman has a concussion. And the referee quickly went over to go check on her. So I'm going to pick it up towards the middle of this match, where, steel chairs were being swung around by Becky Lynch. She was just a woman possessed. Right, we had that big spot with Charlotte and Asuka with the table. barely breaking. So Asuka is laid out on the commentary table. Okay, I don't remember which one. It might have been the Spanish one or the German one, whatever. She was laid out on a commentary table. So she's laying on the table, and so is Charlotte. Charlotte's laying there. So Becky takes a huge ladder and props it up right next to the table, as if she's going to just fucking channel her inner Jeff Hardy. She positions one of the smaller tall ladders at ringside. She stops to stomp on Flair. She then puts Flair and Asuka side by side on the commentary table. It's the German announce table. Becky climbs the ladder, and she leaps off. I don't know whether she went for a senton or she went for an ash drop or a leg drop, but she jumped off the ladder, and she landed on Charlotte Flair to a point where she literally, like a fucking tennis ball, bounced off of Charlotte. The table did not break. They slide off the table, and at this point, I'm thinking to myself, if Charlotte gets up from this, A, the woman is not human, and B, I'll never say anything bad about her in the ring ever again. There is no way that woman walked away without a bruised rib or a broken rib or a ruptured fucking something. She looked completely fucked up, to the point where she said something and Kevin Dunn had to bleep out what she said because she was in pain. And that spot looked fucking brutal. Asuka moved out of the way. Charlotte got all of Becky Lynch diving off this ladder. So Flair, obviously clutching her ribs. No doubt in my mind, she's definitely hurt. I would be legit shocked if she walked away unscathed without any injury. So Becky's down. Asuka makes her way into the ring. She slowly climbs up the ladder. Asuka grabs the title. Becky comes in, stops that. Flair comes in. Flair's up. Don't know how she got up, but she's up. Hits Asuka in the back with a kendo stick. Then Becky. Flair shoves Becky away, unloads on Asuka with the kendo stick. Flair with more kendo stick shots while Becky is down on the outside. So she got destroyed on the outside and somehow got a second life. It's like fucking Legend of Zelda. She was down, she was dead, she had no heart meters, and all of a sudden the fucking fairy came around. You forgot you had one in the fucking inventory. Fairy came around, gave her full health, and she's back up, swinging a fucking kendo stick. So, Becky is... Actually, no, Asuka sends Flair to the outside. Flair sends Asuka to the outside. Flair follows with kendo sticks, starts screaming out about how the title is hers. She tells one fan to shut up, points to one fan, tells him to shut up. Becky comes over and nails a Bexploder on Charlotte. This woman just got her ribs destroyed in a huge ladder spot on top of the German announce table. Becky comes over and gives her a Bexploder suplex into the fucking tables that are laid out on the outside. WWE, for, I guess, aesthetic reasons, had tables and chairs lined up against the barricade. So Becky's looking around. She sees a table behind her, gives her a fucking Exploder suplex against the table that's propped up against the barricade, and again has her head hit the table on the outside, man. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Asuka unloads on Becky. She's got the kendo stick now. She's going to work on Becky with the kendo stick. Flair, up again, I don't know how, runs over with force and literally comes out of nowhere with a spear, breaking the barricade by the timekeeper's area, and spears Asuka through the barricade. Now, the barricade doesn't completely break, but whatever the case may be, the spear was fucking brutal. This woman, in a span of 3 minutes, has broken ribs, bruised ribs, whatever, from a Becky Lynch fucking dive off a huge ladder, through an announce table that didn't break, hit a Bexploder suplex on Charlotte. Her head hits the back of a fucking table that's propped up against the barricade. She gets up and spears Asuka through a fucking barricade. I text my friend Jesse, I'm like, dude, I'm never saying anything bad about Charlotte ever again. Never saying anything bad about Charlotte ever again. Ever. So, that's that. So, Becky takes advantage, climbs the ladder. Obviously, with Charlotte and Asuka on the outside, she sees advantage to take this opportunity to go get the title, and the fans are going crazy. Flair runs in. Up, I don't know how the fuck. Gotta be a fucking android. Gotta be an android, man. They must have popped a new fucking battery in her. I don't know. pulls her off the ladder. Flair and Lynch now stare each other down. They have words. We got this big moment here between Charlotte and Becky. Flair and Lynch trade shots back and forth. Becky sends Flair face first into the ladder. It goes down, falls over. Becky tackles Flair and mounts her with some strikes, some ground and pound by Becky. They roll to the floor, and Flair chops Becky many, many times. Many, many times. Becky goes down. Flair positions Becky on top of a table, still talking trash. Flair goes to the top and hits a huge flip, putting Becky through the table on the floor. Charlotte, man, I'm telling you, out of everybody tonight, she earned whatever paycheck she has coming to her. So Flair returns to the ring. She climbs the ladder. She gets up to the top. Asuka gets up from the rubble of the barricade. Charlotte says, get down. This is my title. Go away. Asuka climbs up and meets Flair up top by the title. Flair starts bringing the title down. She starts reaching for the title. They trade shots back and forth. Flair slams Asuka into the top of the ladder. Becky brings in another ladder and places it right next to the one that Charlotte and Asuka are on. And we got this big fight between all three. Flair knocks Asuka down. Becky climbs up the ladder. Flair moves from her ladder to Becky's ladder, which is not positioned under the title correctly, but Charlotte was reaching for the title anyway, which looked fucking ridiculous. But all of a sudden, Ronda Rousey comes out. No smiling. She's got leather pants on. She's got leather jacket on. All business. No bullshit. Bitch Ronda. Ronda marches to the ring. She comes into the ring. She shoves which this looked awful, by the way, but I mean, I guess it's the mental state that we're thinking about here. If the psychotic fucking me was hoping that Ronda would push these two off into a fucking table on the outside, but this is not Shawn Michaels and Triple H, But Ronda comes in, shoves the ladder that both Becky and Charlotte are on, and they fall off the ladder. They get hung up on the top rope, and Ronda leaves the ring. Charlotte and Becky roll to the outside. They're selling their injuries. Asuka hanging on the ladder that Charlotte knocked her off of, climbs up the ladder, retrieves the title, and Asuka is finally the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Charlotte and Becky look disgusted, and TLC goes off the air with Asuka finally a SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a triple threat match at WrestleMania. I don't know what Vince McMahon has planned for Monday Night Raw. He could shake up things, and he could put Charlotte on Monday Night Raw, and they could be battling it out for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I don't think that he's going to do that, but if he wanted to, he has all the power to do that, because it's his fucking show. I doubt that they do that. But what I do know is with this ending, this was the ending that I did not want them to go with. The ideal ending I wanted was Charlotte winning the championship and Becky winning the Royal Rumble by herself by eliminating Nia Jax. Charlotte would then take the title into WrestleMania and pass the title to Asuka at WrestleMania. Now, if WWE wanted to do Asuka and Charlotte at WrestleMania, they can. But this situation that we've seen tonight is not going to favor Asuka, for everybody that has a problem with Charlotte being a 9-time women's champion. Because Asuka winning the title is only going to lead WWE to give the title to Charlotte anyway. I would have rather Charlotte won the title here and then challenge Asuka at WrestleMania, Asuka win the title there, and get her revenge for this year's WrestleMania. And recover from the loss that Charlotte gave her this year in New Orleans. Now we're not getting that. We're not even going to get Charlotte versus Asuka 2 or 3 this WrestleMania coming up, because that's not what happened. The story doesn't call for it. What we got was WWE meeting everybody 50-50. What WWE told you here tonight with this ending was, we're not removing Charlotte from any plans concerning Ronda Rousey. Becky is here because pretty much they have to put Becky here. But Charlotte's not going anywhere. So we're going to put our woman in, the fans are going to have their woman in, and Ronda's going to be the middle woman with the championship. And all three are going to battle it out at WrestleMania. I don't like that. I don't like that because, A, at the Royal Rumble, more than likely, we are now going to get Nia Jax getting eliminated by Becky Lynch, but the Royal Rumble is going to come down to Charlotte and Becky. It makes the Royal Rumble too predictable. So what I think WWE is going to do is, finally, since the first time it's happened since 1994, I honestly think that WWE is going to go back and give us the Bret Hart versus Lex Luger situation in the 1994 Royal Rumble, and both Becky and Charlotte, the only way for them to get to Ronda Rousey, because they're all three on separate brands, Becky and Charlotte are on SmackDown, Ronda's on Monday Night Raw, the only way that they could get to Ronda after what happened tonight is through the Royal Rumble. Only one of them could win the Royal Rumble. WWE is going to book them to both win the Royal Rumble. They're going to pull out the 1994 Royal Rumble situation where both Hart and Luger eliminated each other, and they both go to WrestleMania because they can't decide whose feet hit the floor first, if they could even pull it off. It's miraculous that they pulled it off with fucking Luger and Hart, and even then, I still think Luger's feet hit the floor first. I was always in the agreement of Luger hitting the floor first. You know, Hart won that Royal Rumble. But if they could pull it off, that's what I think they're going to do with. That's what I think they're going to go with, and the plan that they're going to execute. I don't like it. I don't like it, because then we're going to get a WrestleMania with Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda Rousey. And the reason I mention this, and I mentioned it on the show, is because Becky deserves the spotlight. Charlotte and Asuka, no one's going to have an issue with that. That's why I would have rather had Asuka lose tonight and Charlotte win the championship, and Charlotte pass the title to Asuka at WrestleMania, and leave Becky to the main event to have her moment with Ronda and win the Raw Women's Championship. But we're not going to get that. Now we're going to get a triple threat match, because WWE is too stingy and WWE is too ignorant to give the fans truly what they want 100%. It's always got to be what WWE wants, and then, yeah, we'll throw you a bone. WWE's going to have their woman in it, and WWE's giving us, the fans, a bone by having Becky Lynch in there against Ronda Rousey. Triple threat match. So now it's a WrestleMania main event, the first time ever for the women. It's got to include Charlotte Flair. Can't just be Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. It's got to be Charlotte Flair. This is why people don't like Charlotte Flair. It has nothing to do with her in-ring ability. It has everything to do with the way she's babied on this show. This was a great fucking main event. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't like the ending. I like the ending. I have no problem with Asuka being the champion. I love Asuka. I loved Asuka ever since she debuted on NXT. And I hope that they start treating her with the fucking prestige that she deserves. And I hope that they give her someone of quality at WrestleMania. But the simple fact that Charlotte is now going to join Becky in the main event of WrestleMania, that might anger some people. It's not the ideal ending I would have went with, but certainly it's a historic moment, and I can't sit here and tell you that WWE didn't do the right thing. They did the right thing. They just did the right thing in their own little way. They took the title off Becky Lynch. Now the Royal Rumble is going to be even more important and even more must-see, but it does make the Royal Rumble just a little bit predictable, being that Charlotte and Becky now are going to be battling it out in that same match over who's going to get Ronda Rousey, instead of it just being Becky. You know? Both situations are predictable, but one is much better than the other. But it still makes the Royal Rumble a little bit more predictable. Kind of makes it a little bit unpredictable with Charlotte being in there, but who knows what WWE's going to pull out. Guarantee you Charlotte and Becky both win the Royal Rumble by some way in January in Phoenix. I am getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. This has been, I've been here for 2 fucking hours. 2-hour TLC review. You believe this shit? Unreal. But I'm getting out of here, and I will see you guys on Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys so much for all your support. If you missed anything on the channel that I uploaded previously this weekend, please go back and check it. Follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And patreon.com/JD from NY206. Will Monday Night Raw have the 6th lowest rating of all time? I don't know, man. Mr. McMahon's coming on Monday Night Raw. We'll see what happens tonight on Monday Night Raw, man. Thank you guys so very much. I'm getting out of here. Was TLC a good show? No. Out of 12 matches, you know, I'm gonna sit here and say 5 out of the 12 were good. I'm gonna include the Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy match. That is a below 50% show. So to me, it is, I would say honestly, a thumbs in the middle because of what Charlotte, Becky, and Asuka did in the main event, and what AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan did. Those two, and the Bar, Usos in the New Day. Those matches were great. Other than that, I really didn't give a shit about anything else that happened on the show. So if you guys want my honest opinion, it's a thumbs in the middle show. And I hate doing thumbs in the middle because it's either thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs in the middle. But we'll see what happens, man. Shake up happening on Raw. I'll see you guys on the review.